Writing beautiful sounding riffs in FACGCE tuning doesn't need to be complicated, because after helping thousands of guitarists on this channel learn to play that signature twinkly math rock and Midwest emo sound, I've boiled it all down to 2 simple steps anyone can follow. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how it works, demo each step, and help you start creating your own dreamy ideas in minutes. And it's exercises like the ones I'm about to show you in this video that you can find in my handy Guitarist Guide to FACGCE book. So if you want to learn more about this, then just check the description below. Thanks. So to start, let me show you how guitarists are writing beautiful ideas in this tuning and how this can help you. So let me ask you this: what do these dreamy FACGCE riffs have in common? While they're all different takes of writing riffs in FACGCE, obviously, they have one key thing in common, and that is they are all using notes from the C major scale. For example, here's the notes of that American football example compared to the notes of C major across the neck in FACGCE. And here's the notes of that cover example, and again, we can see that Yvette is using notes from that C major scale. And lastly, the TTNG example, we can see that Tim Collis with that crocodile riff, we see the same thing happening again here. He's using notes from that C major scale. And it's not just these songs, almost every song that I've studied in FACGCE or every riff that I've learned in FACGCE by a few stick to using the notes of the C major scale. And that's a big part of the reason why ideas quickly start sounding quite similar in this tuning. But how does this all help you? Well, it means that in order to write such dreamy melodic ideas, you can make your life much easier by just learning the C major note positions across the fretboard and ignore the rest for now. But how do you do that? Well, let me show you an easy exercise from my FACGCE guidebook that's been helping tons of guitarists ingrain these note positions into their playing, and it goes like this. I call this exercise Noodle clusters because it helps you find little clusters of notes that you can use to write ideas. And best of all, you will learn all of the note positions in C major really quickly this way. All right, so it goes like this. What I'd like you to do is play this F string, and then I would like you to hammer on to the next available note in C major and then the one after that. And you're going to do this in a triplet style fashion. Then you're going to go to your next string and repeat the same process. Then to the next string, then again those 3 notes. Then the same for the next string. Next string. And your last string. And what you're aiming for is something like this. And then all we're going to do is now we're going to move up from here, and we're going to go to the next set of notes, and we're going to do the same noodle of hammering on. So this time, then the A, then the next string, then the G, then your C, and then to the E. And then we're simply going to keep repeating this process, this 3-note hammer on noodles. So we go to the next space. And then after that, down here it gets a little bit more tricky with the fingerings. And then lastly, and if you wanted to carry on, you're just going to repeat that same positions going past the 12th fret there. And I find after a few sessions of just going, you get the idea that you start to ingrain where all of these notes are, and you build up this mental map of the fretboard really quickly this way. But how does this exercise help you beyond that exactly? Well, I found that through this exercise, I started to not only unlock patterns on the fretboard that I could use to write ideas quickly, little noodle clusters like I called them, but it also helped me learn my favorite FACGCE riffs so much faster by having this mental map of the fretboard. So in our second step, let me show you a few examples of how you can use this to help you start writing those dreamy FACGCE FACGCE ideas quickly. I've realized it's quite hard to say that quite quickly. So to understand how this next step works, we need to go back to those three FACGCE riffs examples that we looked at earlier. And as I told you, they were all using notes from that C major scale. But there is another important thing that they all have in common, and that is that they're often crafted around some kind of ringing strings or fretted notes, and this is providing some harmony movement, like a chord progression, to these ideas. For example, in the For Sure example by American Football, it's all crafted around this ringing F string. And Crocodile by TTNG takes a similar approach, but this time we're adding a few more notes to the changing harmony. So in the first phrase, you have that ringing A, which is kind of giving this minor feel to the idea, right? And then we move to this. So now we've got this sound, and then ending on this G sound. And even in Parachute by Covert, which is less of a single note approach to writing and more of an arpeggiated chord approach, we still see this lower note ringing and some fretted note harmony approach going on to crafting the idea. We have F for the first phrase, and then we have A, and then G. So if I were to have a go at writing a single note approach, like we'd see in some of those examples and many guitarists do in FACGCE, I would first start with working out some kind of harmony note to begin from. So for example, if we take inspiration from the American For Sure rhythm, but we can start around this part of the fretboard instead, let's say, I could noodle till I found something that I was happy with. So if I was sticking around this, this part, and I could start on an F, let's say. And I would just begin by noodling like that until I found a phrase or an idea that I could latch on to. So let's go with the American Football rhythm, like I said. That's nice, right? And maybe let's move to this A note. And it already gives a different flavor to that riff, right? And that's just having that noodle cluster memory and having that mental map of the fretboard. And by knowing where the notes are across these lower strings now, it's a superpower for just finding where you can start launching your harmony idea from and start creating your own like pseudo dreamy chord kind of sounds. So let's say I was just on this lower string here and I go through the memory of where these notes are. I could start to craft an idea. Maybe this one goes very pop punky sounding, just descending pattern, let's say. And then I could experiment with my mapping of the fretboard, finding shapes that I like. And of course, these noodle cluster exercises help a ton when it comes to write those really twinkly, noodly style riffs. Alright, so now you know how to start crafting your own dreamy, mathy, emo ideas in FACGCE tuning. The next thing I recommend is learning the chords in FACGCE, and this is going to equip you with even more tools to help you play in this beautiful tuning. So watch this lovely video next, where I'll walk you through some of the best beautiful sounding movable FACGCE chord shapes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.